Welcome to True Chi Health Talks. I'm your host, Dr. Therese Walsh Van Kuren, your guide to health enhancement and repair. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on Facebook as Acupuncture with Dr. Therese Walsh Van Kuren and Instagram as @ThereseHerbs. I'm in my Los Gatos, California office in the South San Francisco Bay Area, and you can visit me at truechi.com. That's TRUECHI.com. There are lots of health resources there that will help you. The phone number is 408-583-7964. Today is episode 4, titled Blood as a Commodity of the Body. We're going to be discussing the second commodity of the human being, the blood. It is one of the 4 major commodities that circulates in the body. As a reminder, the 4 commodities of the body are Qi, blood, Yin, and Yang. Our 3 questions for today are, number 1, what is blood doing as a commodity of the body? And number 2, what does blood excess and deficiency look like? And number 3, what is the esoteric meaning of blood? Before we get into today's topic of blood, I'm going to give you a quick review of Qi as the commodity of the body. That was our last podcast. And Qi is the life force that animates our body. All vital activities of the human body are explained by the changes in the movement of Qi. As we said in our last episode, Qi is just Qi, like water is just water, and yet it can take on different forms and different movements. Snow is still water, just like Yuan Qi is still Qi. We recognize different classifications of Qi based on the action of the Qi or the location of the Qi. When Qi runs on the surface of the body structures, we call this Wei Qi, or defensive Qi. When the Qi pushes the blood along in the blood vessels, we call this Yin Qi, nutritive Qi, on the middle level of the body. And when Qi is found in the deepest level, influencing the 8 extraordinary vessels of the body and the unfolding of the Jing substance, we call this Yuan Qi. So those are the 3 superficial, middle, and deep levels of the body. Zong Qi is found in the location of the chest, and this is the foundation of the lung function and the heart function. And it is also referred to as ancestral Qi, and we'll get into that in another episode. Qing Qi is the clear air that we breathe. Da Qi is also called cosmic Qi, and it is the influences that we feel from the heavens, the sun, the moon, and the stars. Gu Qi is the Qi that we get from the earth that nourishes our body. It is in the dew on the grass in the morning and in the food that we eat every day. Oh, I'm having trouble with my very primitive monitor. Okay, and Zheng Qi, Z-H-E-N-G, Zheng Qi, is the synthesis of all the functions of Qi working together correctly in the meridians, forming the ability to stand tall and be upright and know what the right thing to do is or not to do is at the right time. Righteous Qi, or true Qi, in the English, as in the English saying, aim straight and true. That's the concept of the word Zheng Qi. So we move on now to what is blood doing as a commodity of the body. In the Chinese medicine concept of blood, blood continuously forms and circulates, delivering nutrients to every single cell of the body. If one cell doesn't get nutrients or doesn't get waste taken away from it, it dies. So it carries the nutrients to every single cell, and it carries away the waste from every single cell in the body. What a huge responsibility this is. Blood formation originates from food essence, or just like we said a moment ago, gu qi, earth qi, produced in the earth organs. And those are spleen, stomach, pancreas. And we regard this source of the earth organs' production of all the qi and all the blood in the body. So for those of you that think that digestion is the source of all disease in the body, the digestive center, you would be considered an earth school tradition practitioner in the Chinese tradition, Chinese medicine tradition. So the functions or the jobs under the domain of blood are taking care of the body, number one, and equally important, taking care of the mind. Blood dominates nourishment and moisture. I'm going to read a little bit to you from what we consider to be our Bible of studying Chinese medicine. It's kind of the first and last book we read when we go through school. So that is Chinese Acupuncture and Moxibustion. And I'm just going to read a little bit about blood dominating nourishment and moisture. The nourishing and moistening function of blood manifests clearly in the movement of the eye and the four limbs. According to the 10th chapter of Plain Questions, quote, when the liver receives blood, it gives rise to vision. When the feet receive blood, they're capable of walking. When the palms receive blood, they are capable of holding, and when the fingers receive blood, they are capable of grasping, end quote. So that gives you an idea of how the Chinese model looks at blood circulation and moistening of all the cells in the body. Number two, blood is the material foundation for mental activities. And from chapter 2 of the Ling Shu, quote, harmonious circulation of blood ensures a vigorous spirit, end quote. So the deficiency of heart blood or liver blood may result in mental restlessness, agitation, irritability, somebody that's constantly shaking their leg all the time, somebody that's constantly fidgeting or moving all the time. So the relationship of blood with the blood organs dictates how well the blood forms and circulates. So the three organs that we consider to be blood organs are the liver, the heart, and the earth organs, which include three organs, spleen, stomach, and pancreas. So the liver serves as a storage reservoir of blood. The heart, which governs the circulation of blood, and the spleen, stomach, pancreas, earth organs form the blood from the food essence, or the gu qi. So there is a special relationship of blood to all of these organs. There's also a special relationship of blood to the stomach that is recognized in both Chinese medicine and traditional Western medicine. The Western medical view recognizes that iron is absorbed in the stomach. And in the Chinese literature, the classics state that the stomach transforms the red substance and sends it to the heart. If you have inflammatory stomach conditions, this will eventually lead to blood deficiency or iron deficiency anemia. This is one of those perfect translation between two worlds moments when Western medicine and Chinese medicine ideas about the body and the understanding overlap one another. So it's kind of a nice resting place for the ideas of these two systems that we have available to us here in this culture. And then the second major question for today is, what does excess and deficiency blood look like? So let's talk about that for a second. I'm going to start with deficiency. That's a little bit easier to recognize. So in the Western view, the name for blood deficiency would be anemia. The signs of anemia, according to this view, are easily fatigued, loss of energy, unusually rapid heartbeat, particularly with exercise, shortness of breath, headache, particularly with exercise, difficulty concentrating, dizziness, pale skin, leg cramps, and insomnia. So those are the major signs. And there are 6 types of anemia recognized, but I'm just going to mention the first 2, which make up at least 80% of the anemia conditions, and that is iron deficiency anemia or B12 deficiency anemia. And in the Chinese medical tradition, we just use a formula called siwutong, which means to build 4 herbs that build back the blood substance. And that's very easy for us. So we see blood deficiency, we give this formula, and the blood gets built up. Not immediately, it takes several months for the blood to build back up again. And plus, water is an essential component, making sure there's no dehydration. So that would be our approach. I think of acupuncture and cupping and gua sha as a way to remove obstacles, impingements, stagnation, blockage, stasis. And I think of moxibustion as a way to put back lost qi or lost yang back into the body. And I tend to think of food and herbal medicine as a way to supplement deficiencies in the body. Deficient qi, deficient blood, deficient yin, and even deficient yang can be supplemented by eating the right foods or taking the right herbs, which is kind of a shortcut to the diet. Of course, there's always many exceptions to every rule, so let me just mention that there are great herbs that break apart stones or growths, reduce swellings, and remove them from the body. So of course, there are those herbs that do that. But just as a general first pass with someone, that's how I tend to think of acupuncture and herbal medicine and how they can benefit the patient. But anyway, back to the Chinese medical tradition, we want to define the contribution to blood deficiency as being related to a possible failure of the blood organs, which we mentioned already, liver, heart, and the earth organs. So as practitioners of Chinese medicine, we do a further analysis to determine if the blood deficiency is related to the gut, to the earth organs, to the failure to function optimally, or possibly excess of food allergies leading to a leaky gut or SIBO, loss of oral tolerance, diabetes, etc. Or we look at the liver. Are there problems with joints? Are there PMS problems, tendinitis, toxin overloads? We can look at toxin overload through a simple tox screen panel where we can look at the urine and see what the toxic overload is. Or with the heart or the blood vessels, is there poor circulation or high blood pressure, plaque formations, possibly even on the teeth? We can see that the person has a tendency towards plaque formation, possibly also in the veins or arteries. So that's a good measure to see if that person is at risk for that or not. Deep vein thrombosis, hemorrhage, bruising easily, TIAs, and etc. So back to blood deficiency. So there are 2 easy at-home tests that you can do yourself to see if you have anemia. Number 1 is looking into the pale skin inside the lower lid, and that's just the skin just inside that touches the white of the eye. That